Hi beautiful friends, welcome back. Today's video is going to be for menstrual cramp relief or period pain. If this video makes you feel uncomfortable at all, then it's quite obvious that you've never had your period because that shit sucks. So if you're feeling uncomfortable, maybe a little bit of angst or anxiety, follow me through this flow. We're going to stretch out the body, really release the muscles through the abdomen, and find a couple twists to get some new blood flowing. No pun intended. We're going to go ahead and get started today in Supine Konasana. What Supine Konasana looks like is we come all the way down onto our shoulders. As they press into the earth, we bring both feet together to touch. Think reclined butterfly pose here. And if this is already too much for your hips, you have the option to bring the feet away from the body. But if this release in the hips feels good, go ahead and send the heels closer to the perineum. Allow the palms to lay easy. And in this pose, allow the shoulders to melt away from the ears. Sometimes during our period, we have that angst and anxiety and a little bit of ups and downs through the depression. This pose is nice and relaxing, nice and calming. And it also relaxes the abdomen, reducing cramps. Now just breathe here. And through this little flow, I like to remember or bring my awareness or intention to the ability to pause. So slowing things down, being able to take that extra moment to pause so that we can respond with love versus responding with all those crazy energies that we feel at this time in our bodies. Inhale, big belly breath for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, nice and soft for 4, 3, 2, 1. We're here for a couple more breaths. Inhale, fill the belly, fill the lungs, let the collarbone expand. And then exhale, let that breath be easy, fill up and let go of anything that no longer serves you. One more breath here. Inhale, fill the belly, fill the lungs. Exhale, release. Allowing that breath to move through those hips. Maybe you start to send your knees a little bit closer towards your mat. Slow and controlled, start to blink the eyes open. Bring both palms on the outside of the thighs and then slowly close your knees together like a book. Being kind to those hips, we were there for a long time. And then bring both knees in towards the chest. Give yourself a big squeeze. Sometimes it just feels good to give yourself a nice hug. And sometimes it feels good to clench everything inside just to exhale, let it go. One more breath, knee to nose, round the spine. And then exhale, release the right foot all the way down, keeping hold of the left knee. Coming in for a supine twist, left knee comes cross body, and then bringing the palms out to a T. So here in this supine twist, can you ground both shoulder blades into the earth? Can you maybe bring this right palm to slightly on top of this left thigh? And maybe you start to send your gaze towards the left fingertips here. Through these breaths, can you exhale and bring this left knee a little bit closer towards the earth? Finding those inhales and exhales to calm that nervous system down. And allowing this twist to stretch out the back and the hips. I don't know about you guys, but through my menstrual cramps, I sometimes feel a nice tight back. And so this pose specifically really helps me release my spine. You can stay passive or active in your feet depending on how your body feels today. One more breath here. Inhale, fill the belly, fill the lungs. On that final exhale, can you release this left knee a little bit deeper, finding that intense stretch on the spine? Gazes towards the left fingertips here. Take one more breath. And then exhale, bring both knees into the chest. Give yourself a squeeze, come back through center. This time, allow the right knee to stay in towards the chest and allow the left foot to drop all the way down. Right knee comes cross body, setting up for that supine twist on the opposite side. Can you open up the palms here to a T? Can you simultaneously ground down both shoulder blades as this left palm slightly comes towards this right thigh, maybe helping it down through the journey towards the earth? Maybe you send the gaze towards the right fingertips here for a deeper stretch. And allow yourself to completely melt on your mat here. Allow your thoughts to dissipate, but through each exhale, can you sink this left knee a little bit closer towards your mat? Two more breaths here. 5 breaths total on each side. If you'd like to stay for a little bit more, no shame in your game. Do what feels good. Last breath. Through this last breath, can I send my right knee a little bit closer while bringing this right shoulder down towards the earth? And then exhale, release. Grab both knees. Give yourself another squeeze and start to create movement by rolling that low back onto the earth. So maybe first moving in a clockwise motion, and then switching the direction to counterclockwise. From here, start to come all the way onto the right side using your bicep as a pillow. Pressing into the palms, rising up to a seated position. In this seated position, we're going to come into Baddha Konasana. I'll come face towards you. So just like we did laying on our backs, we're going to bring the heels nice and close towards the tailbone, towards our perineum, which is right underneath here. Again, if this feels a little bit too tight on your hips, you can go ahead and send the feet away from the body. But from here, bring the palms on top of the feet and start to relax the shoulder blades down. Nice proud chest, send the crown of your head high. Breathe deeply here in this pose, actively sending those knees towards the earth. Inhale, rise the palms nice and high, root to rise. Think jazz hands here. Sending the gaze in between the thumbs, maybe you take a slight back bend. And then exhale, start to melt the heart down, forward fold on top of your thighs. So maybe your forward fold here looks like this, and that's totally okay. Can you allow your muscles to relax here? This pose brings us energy as it stimulates our ovaries. Also known as a reproductive health power pose. Take one more inhale here. Exhale through. Can you sink yourself a little bit deeper? Keep the integrity of your spine, a nice flat back. Maybe you send your gaze in between the toes just to release the neck. Two more breaths here. Taking this moment of pause that is definitely needed. And then walk the palms back up. Bringing the palms on top of the ankles and then starting to roll the neck. Finding a release in the neck and shoulders. Maybe moving the direction first to semicircles, chin touching the chest. And then if it feels good, can you broaden those circles, first moving clockwise? And then switching the direction to counterclockwise. Exhale, releasing back through center, allowing the shoulders to melt down the spine. Take one more breath here. Exhale, release the feet out in front of you. We're creating an L shape with our body. Dandasana staff pose. In this staff pose, dorsiflex those fins, stay nice and active through the legs. We're creating a lot of space here through our torso and our thigh. So before we melt down for Paschimottanasana, can we root to rise, send the gaze nice and high? Maybe you take a slight back bend here. And then exhale, start to melt that chest down, reaching for those toes. And that doesn't necessarily mean you have to touch the toes here, but I want you to think chest to thigh versus nose to knee. So we're keeping an up dog quality in our chest, a nice flat back, finding the integrity of our spine. Releasing down. And again, through each exhale, can you sink a little bit deeper through this forward fold? We're releasing those muscles through our stomach, through our core, finding a release in our back, neck, and spine as well. One more breath here. Exhale, start to walk the palms close to the body. And then bringing both knees in towards the chest, give yourself a little squeeze here. And then exhale, release the feet down. We're coming into a child's pose. So through this child's pose, you have the option to bring the big toes together to touch. And you also have the option to have a tight child's pose, bring the knees close. Or maybe you bring the knees far apart for a little bit more of a release, depending on your body and depending on what feels comfortable. After bringing the big toes together to touch, start to send the hips down towards the heels. Allow the chest to melt down towards the earth, and maybe you bring that third eye center down towards the mat. This nice calming pose here. Take 5 deep breaths. Allowing that third eye to come onto the mat, maybe giving it a massage back and forth if it feels good. Four more breaths. And here in this child's pose, this is a great opportunity to reflect. A great opportunity to think about the things that maybe in life that you can take a pause and respond with love versus responding with fear. I know especially me during PMS, I get really short-witted. So I tend to snap, I tend to respond quickly, and I tend to respond with anger and fear versus responding with love. One more breath. Inhale, fill the belly, fill the lungs. Exhale, release. One more breath. Inhale, fill the belly, fill the lungs. Exhale, release all the way back, bringing the feet down towards the side and then coming back into that Dandasana staff pose. So we're going to do one more forward fold just to really activate the things here and to find a release. They activate our digestive systems especially, so it helps us with those cramps and with those pains and aches that we feel during this time of month. So we're slowly starting to bring the right foot in towards this right thigh, sending the left toe to dorsiflex towards the shin. Inhale, make sure your hips are square towards the front. Forward fold, root to rise, send your gaze nice and high. Exhale, Janu Shirshasana. Can you fold down again, keeping that flat back? Maybe bringing the palms onto the mat, bringing the forearms down too. You can even reach past the toes. And if this left leg isn't straight, no worries. You can even put a pillow or a block underneath the knee if that feels a little bit better. But again here, I want you to think chest to thigh versus nose to knee. So keep a nice flat back, find the integrity of your spine. Through each exhale, can you sink a little bit deeper? Take one more breath here. Exhale, release. Inhale, start to walk the palms nice and high, switching our feet, sending the right foot all the way down. And then left foot comes all the way in towards this inner thigh. Dorsiflex this right fin, stay nice and tall, nice proud chest. Root to rise, send your gaze towards your fingers, and then start to melt that heart down for that Janu Shirshasana forward fold. Chest to thigh versus nose to knee. And through each exhale, can you sink a little bit deeper? Know, ladies, that you are not alone through these pains and aches that our body feels. Know that you are not alone in feeling the anxiety and depression and the ups and downs of just being a woman. Can we root down to our feminine side? Can we touch our feminine side here? While embracing this pose, take one more breath. Start to walk the palms nice and high. Release this left foot to meet the right. And then coming into our final child's pose, moving in whatever way you'd like. Big toes come together to touch. Allow the chest to melt down towards the spine. Towards the earth, not the spine. Especially before the period monster comes out to play, my thoughts are really chaotic, and it's often hard for me to connect to my thoughts, to my words, and to make complete sentences. So yoga gives me an opportunity to connect to my breath, no talking necessary. Can you take this final child's pose to connect to your breath, to your intention, to your body? Last breath here. And then walking the palms all the way up, moving our hips towards the earth, scooting the hips towards the top of your mat, giving yourself a nice squeeze here through the shins just because it feels good. And then slowly allow the forearms to come onto the mat. And allow the feet to lift up nice and high, create that L shape here, legs up the wall. So usually inversion practices are frowned upon, especially during our time of month. So this is a nice, easy inversion here that releases the blood from the feet all the way down towards those hips. Fresh new blood, no pun intended. Again, take one more inhale here. Exhale, release. Connect to your intention, connect to your breath. Send your navel in towards the spine. And then bring both knees in towards the chest. Give yourself a final squeeze. Release the feet all the way down towards the earth for your final resting pose, Shavasana. And I know sometimes it's tough to take a Shavasana, especially during a busy day. But if you're feeling the pain, if you're feeling the aches, take this 1 minute for yourself just to be here in this moment. Can you release that mental to-do list you have swarming around in your head? And can you allow yourself this peace and quiet for just 30 more seconds? Completely surrendering to your mats, taking a full body scan, relaxing through the space between the brows, all the way down through the chest, softening through the ribs and the hips, and allowing those hips to release. Unbuckle the knees. Release in the ankles and the toes. Shavasana. Starting to bring awareness back to the body. We wiggle our fingers. Inviting life back into our toes, we give those a little wiggle. And then bringing both knees in towards the chest, giving yourself a final squeeze, thanking yourself for showing up on your mat today for self-love and self-care, especially when it's needed most. Choosing either the right side or the left side to fall onto a fetal position using your bicep as a pillow. This pose represents rebirth, knowing that every single time we step off our mats and into the world is an opportunity for us to begin again. Knowing that even through this pain and aching, this is an opportunity to start fresh, to respond with love versus responding with fear by simply just taking that extra moment to breathe. Planting the palms into the mat, rising up to a seated position, facing any which way you desire. Palms come to gather all the energy we created as a community. And palms come down to heart center for gratitude. In this time of chaos where everything seems to be going wrong, all those aches and pains are taking over your body, can you take one breath with me of gratitude here? Because gratitude helps us fall in love with the life that we already have. Inhale, fill the belly, fill the lungs, let the chest rise. Exhale, let something go that no longer serves you. Leave it here with me on your mats. The perfectly imperfect student in me bows, honors, and respects the teachers in all of you. Thank you for allowing me to guide you through your practice today. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining in. If you have any questions or any concerns or want to vent through the comments, go ahead. I'm with you guys. I feel your pain, and I'll see you guys next Friday for our next video. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Don't forget to share. See you guys next week.